This isn't scary. I once cried through 6th grade when I had to give a speech or whatever you want to call it. It didn't work out. I'm not gonna cry this time. You guys look nicer than 6th grade classmates. All right, I timed myself about 10 minutes. I know a lot of people get up here. Brother Swartz isn't here for me to call out. Darn. Anyways, all right, so like you said, I was a bus kid. I did not go to church when I was a kid. I always believed in God because my mom would always pray with me at night. But that was really like all I had as a kid. I never had a relationship with God. He was just like something that was there. I knew he existed. We prayed to him. That was it. Never knew anything about Jesus. Never anything. When I was 10 years old, some soul winners were walking down the street at my brother's house, and they had a Bible. They opened it on the car, they read it, and I got saved.
Amen.
A few months later, I was going to Emmanuel Baptist Church in Michigan on their bus, and I got baptized. My mom was there in the audience. I thought that was so cool because my mom didn't go to church either.
Amen.
I did not grow up in a healthy home that a lot of us are blessed to have. My parents separated when my mom was pregnant with me, and my dad was not around. I met him one day in my life when it was the day before we moved to Kentucky when I was 14. But my mom met my stepdad, and he basically raised me from when I was born until the day that we moved to Kentucky. We came here because we were going to be homeless. We were at that point living in my uncle's basement, and he was moving to Georgia, so we had no other option. And my brother came and got us, and what we could fit into the van is what we brought with us. And we basically came here and started over, and I was 14 at that time. He had a church here. I don't know if any of you know it. It was called Southside Baptist off of North Broadway, and it is not there anymore because it was a church that did not go out and soul win. Everyone was content. Everyone was happy to just welcome whoever came into the church, but they had no desire to go out and bring anybody in. And we all know what happens to churches like that. They fade. And people get older, they pass away, there's nobody there. And luckily that is something that I don't think will ever happen here because we have amazing people here that really love and care for people. So when I was 14, we started going to church, and I'd been saved, I've been baptized, but I really had not stepped foot in church until then. And I dove in. I loved it. I started helping out with the clothing bank. I started helping out with the kids' Sunday school, working in the nursery. Wherever they wanted me to be, I was there. There was nothing else I would rather do. And it stayed that way until I was 15, and I met a boy. And when I was 16, I married that boy. And it was a very unhealthy marriage. Whatever that means to you, that's what it was. And in between that time, before we got married, he and they kind of came here as well as the church that we were going to. So I was introduced here, and I was riding the bus here. Almost exclusively after I got married, we came here. And then it was almost just me. And this church was a rescue for me. It was a salvation for me because it was one of the only places that I was allowed to go to by myself. And I looked forward, like you would not believe, to coming here and spending 3 hours here. And in that year and a half, we probably moved 4 times. It didn't matter, Brother Spears. He found me. Didn't matter. Him and his big red truck, his cowboy hat, bucket full of bubble gum, came, knocked on the door. He said, "You come to church tomorrow?" I said, "I sure am. Come get me." And I went to church. And one day, we were standing back there, and he was like, "You don't have a Bible, do you?" I said, "No, I don't have a Bible." And he said, "Stand right here." So he went out the door, and he came back, and he brought me this Bible. this Bible is very well loved. This Bible has got me through so much.
Amen.
I spent during my marriage a lot of time in the book of Malachi. Probably that's the most underlined and note-taken chapter of this book. I've gone back and reread it, and now I don't know why that stood out to me so much, because when you read the Bible, I think it means different things to you at different times.
Right.
And when I was 17 and a half, I wrote a letter to my brother's wife. They had moved back to Michigan, and told her what was going on, and she said, we're gonna come get you. And so on a Sunday when I was supposed to be at church, y'all probably remember, there was a Sunday of the big ice storm we had in 2003. They came and got me, and I went up there, and I stayed up there for 6 months, and we came back to Kentucky. And I didn't come back here. I think I was afraid of seeing things that I wouldn't want to see, people I wouldn't want to see. And we went to different churches. I went to a mega church, I won't say the name, for 5 years, and I knew nobody. I didn't know a single person's name in the 5 years that I went to that church. And fast forward to about 2013, some of you know this, some of you don't, but I had a child that passed away in 2013. We were going to Trinity Baptist Church over here at that time. And that week that my daughter passed away, if you've lost anyone, when you're in that funeral planning process, it's almost like you're detached from it. You don't feel it. You don't have a chance to feel it. You're too busy trying to plan everything and get everything situated. And it became real for me when we were leaving the grave. And I don't remember the ride home. I don't remember much of anything until I got back to my aunt's house. And I remember I was just so exhausted, and I just wanted to go to sleep. And I walked into my aunt's room, and Nevaeh was laying in the bed. And I remember looking at her and thinking, I have to be strong. I can't afford to take the easy way out. I haven't gone through that. I can understand how a lot of people can take a different road than what I chose, but I chose my family, my daughters, and I chose my faith.
Amen.
Because if I did not have the faith that I had, then I don't know if I would have been strong enough to get through it. So many other people have so many different stories in mind when they lose their child. And for me, I'm blessed that I had faith, that I had a good, deep, strong relationship with God. And I didn't go to church for a while after that. I was never mad at God. My knowing where she was, knowing that she was in heaven, and my stepdad that raised me had passed away 6 days before she was born. So I knew they were together. That gave me just peace like you wouldn't, the foundation of our faith and knowing that we have heaven and the people that we've lost,
Amen.
Whether we understand it or not, because you don't,
Right.
especially when it's someone so young, is what saved me. So 2017, I was really searching. Like I hit a place in my life where I was like, okay, my girls are getting older. We've been going to churches. I've been looking for something, but I couldn't find it. Something was always missing at whatever church it was that I was trying to find. And I knew I actually did a Google search, and I looked at traditional fundamental Baptist churches in Lexington, Kentucky. And Mount Olivet popped up.
Amen.
And I looked at the name on the screen, and it's like something just kind of like clicked in my head. And I was like, how did I forget this church? Like, and I hate to say it like that, but I kind of disassociated with it, I guess. And I was like, I stared at it for a second, and then I clicked on Facebook, and I sent a message. And I was like, hey, are you guys still running buses? And it was probably Brother Perkins that answered. And he said, yeah, I'll send this to Brother Spears. And I was just like, Brother Spears? Like, oh my gosh. I was like, so he said, someone will be at your house on Saturday. Anyone want to guess who came to my house on Saturday and knocked on my door? That lady over there, Deborah, and her lovely daughters. And I didn't come for probably about 2 months. They came, they rode the buses. Every day, Deborah came, knocked on my door, or every Saturday. And Brother Tyler, I think, was the bus captain at that point, came and picked up the girls. And 2 months after that, I walked into here, and Brother Walker was standing where Brother Walker stands. Brother Spears was here, and I was just like, it felt like I was coming home. And everything was still the same. It's completely different now, but there was a peaceful feeling of everything was still the same, like almost like it waited for me to come back, if that makes any sense. And I walked in and I looked around, and it's kind of like when you walk into the lunchroom and you're like, oh my goodness, where am I gonna sit? And I saw Deborah. So I went and I sat with Deborah. And it's been 8 years now.
Amen.
And Deborah's been stuck with me.
Amen.
She's my God-given friend. I've had a lot of friends in my life, but Deborah is my God-given friend. I didn't choose her. I don't know if we would have chose each other because we're pretty different. But she's my God-given friend. And we've been here for 8 years now. And Leah and Lexi have been baptized here. Nevaeh teaches a class here. I drive a bus here. The relationships that we built here with people have become family to us. And we could never imagine ourselves anywhere else. So when you sit and you wonder, how many people are here because of a bus or because somebody invited you or knocked on your door? Quite a few people. And if this was a Sunday morning, probably half of us would raise our hands. So it's a lot of work what we do here. We knock on doors. We give blood, sweat, and tears to these kids. And sometimes I don't know, you might get tired. And you might be like, I don't want to go today. Like, but I think about it, and like if Brother Spears had decided, I don't know, maybe I'm not gonna go look for Tami today. I don't know how many times he probably went to the house that I was at and I wasn't there anymore. But he did. And I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for Brother Spears come to find me. And you think about the Bibles that we give out. Does it really matter? Is it really important? Are they really gonna read those Bibles? I didn't. Mine's duct taped together, and I really only use it for special occasions now because it's falling apart. The stuff that we do here matters, the relationships. My girls, they get to see relationships and marriages that are healthy. I never saw that. They get to see parents raise their kids in a healthy way. I have changed so much as a parent because of Brother Falconberry's class. Because I did not have, my mom did her best, but my mom broke a lot of chains because she had 10 siblings. She was born in the 60s. You know how that goes. And she broke a lot of chains to get us kids raised. And I'm doing the same thing, but the things that I've learned from Brother Falconberry on how to just be at peace and raise your kids is invaluable.
Amen.
So the bonds and the relationships and the things that we do for each other, the things that we do for the kids that we may not get to see, because sometimes they leave, sometimes they don't come back, sometimes they're gone for 15 years and they come back with their kids like I did.
Amen.
So that's just a very small piece of my testimony because we don't have 5 days. But I really wanted to reiterate in how important the Bibles are that we give to kids, how important it is that we go and we knock on doors and we bring these kids in, because there's other kids like me out there who need just a few hours of salvation and a few hours of peace in turmoil that we don't even know that they're going through. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen. I'm glad I got to hear that.
Amen.
Things I didn't know. And so whenever you think it's in vain, it's not in vain.
That's right.